Hi Libra, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your October 1st to the 15th, 2022 money and career reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. This cleanse and meditation will be accompanied by a loud sound. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. So let's see what energy we need to be mindful of during this time, Libra. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides. Ooh, we have two. Okay, that's interesting. There's something about a broken heart here, okay? And there's something about needing to rest, because it's very interesting. We have the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups is a very positive card. But the Ace of Cups also tells us that emotionally we can be highly sensitive during this time. And the first thing that I saw with the Four of Swords and the Ace of Cups coming forward was Spirit saying there's heartbreak that needs to be acknowledged, that still needs to be mourned. And we're going to find that that does affect us when it comes to our work, when it comes to, how we're putting things together. So with the Four of Swords, it's taking time to rest. It's taking time to honor our story and everything that we've been through. Emotionally, during this time, Libra, and we're in the Libra time period, we need to take time to have the balance of ourselves move us forward, to balance ourselves, to recalibrate ourselves, but also to honor our path, who we are, what we desire, what we want. And people might say, well, what does that have to do with money and career? It has to do with everything with it, because our emotional energy vibration comes forward. And the way that we feel is going to be what we call to us. So if we feel like I just want to be left alone, we're going to be pushing people away. We're going to be pushing blessings away from us that at this time we need to be taking. We need to be taking for us, because there's a feeling of a bit of sadness. There's a feeling of a bit of being overwhelmed. And then we feel like, oh, well, we're not blessed. Nothing is working out the way that we want it to be. And that's because, excuse me, the energy around us is that of, leave me alone. I'm not ready for this now. And I'm a bit raw. So just be aware of this. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. Hold on. I think this is 2. Yes. Oh, and Spirit just said, for those of you who are saying, Dane, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't feel raw, and I haven't gone through any really big heartbreaks. This is an acknowledgement of just being a little bit emotionally overwhelmed during this time, a little bit more sensitive than you would want to be. Like the armor isn't quite up the way that we would want it to be when we're dealing with work, when we're dealing with other people. And we need to make sure that we take time to rest. We need to make sure that we're getting enough sleep, and that we're taking time to really, acknowledge our needs and take care of ourselves. Kind of like a self-care day is going to be so important, and just even self-care time. Okay. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. So we are crowned by the Four of Pumpkins, the Four of Pentacles. This is the Hocus Pocus deck. Then we have Suspension, which is the Hangman. We have the Knight of Swords, the Knight of Swords, which is us coming through. The Knight of Swords, the Knight of Lightning here is air sign energy. We are air sign energy. We have the Two of Potions, the Two of Wands, and then Transformation. And Transformation is the Death card. So strong Scorpio energy coming in. If you're born on the cusp with Scorpio, or if you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, this is going to come through very powerfully. But you're also going to be seeing a door open, and you're going to be, there's movement around you here. Yeah, there's movement around you here, Libra. There's something of, I want a transformation. I want to move things forward. And so just staying still, staying in one place isn't necessarily going to be your thing. And you might feel a little bit more restless. You might be like, oh my gosh, I don't understand why I can't just kind of like settle down and be happy in this one spot like I was before. And that's just a bit of restless energy. You have a lot of ideas. You will be able to focus this energy. You have to make sure that you rest enough, or else it's going to be just a bit chaotic. But being able to focus this energy, even mentally or physically, whichever one, suits you the best and your personality the best, you're going to find that you can really get things done during this time. You can be like a well-oiled machine. There are doors that are opening that you hadn't expected to open. And there's a sense of, I'm becoming someone, or I'm becoming something that I didn't expect. And why Spirit says something is that it doesn't necessarily have to be that you yourself are changing, but it can be that you're embracing new ideas or new, ways of looking at things that is really quite surprising for you, that you're like, oh, I didn't expect that, or I didn't think of that. And it starts to transform. But there's something that has died away. There's something that has come to an end, and you need to close the door on it. The closing of the door might be a little bit more intense, like unexpected, than you had thought it would be. You had thought like, oh, closing this door would be super easy, and yet you're finding it to be more difficult. So just acknowledging that during this time is going to be a very powerful thing. With the Four of Pentacles, there is something here. Okay, the Four of Pentacles is vampiric energy trying to steal our wealth, our prosperity, and even make us doubt our own worth. So this is a time where we're looking at things and we can feel like, well, I don't know if I can do it, or I don't know where I stand, or I don't know what this is. And it's bringing up an insecurity that has been pushed down within you. So what Spirit is saying here is that this is going to be a time where you break a lot of old ties that held you back in ways that you no longer want in your life. Like you don't need this anymore, and you don't want it. And there's going to be a very profound sense of opening up a gift that has been hidden away. So a hidden gift starts to come forward. But before it comes forward, there is this sense of doubt. There is this sense of chaos. There is the sense of, can I get this done? Or do I know what I'm doing? Or do I know where I want to be? And it moves us to the Hangman, because we're seeing things quite differently. And if you know the movie Hocus Pocus, when these two kids get put in these cages, they start to see things very, very differently. It like scares them straight, right? So here, it's like something is changing, and we might find it to be very overwhelming, but all of a sudden our eyes are open to a whole new world, a whole new set of possibilities that we didn't think were possible, or we thought, oh no, this isn't, this couldn't happen to me, or this isn't, the outcome that I wanted it to be. And because things are changing, because we're looking at things so differently now, we can kind of psych ourselves out a little bit. So Spirit's saying be very mindful of this, with the fragility of the world, the fragility of ourselves, the way that we're looking at how we want to move forward. And that's actually going to be a very natural progression, because Libra, you like to keep everything in balance. But because you are of the mind, whenever something comes up that kind of throws you off balance, you can kind of want to fall down that rabbit hole. So just be very aware of it, because it will affect the way that you call in your money. It will affect the way that you see your prosperity. It will affect everything. And then you'll be like, well, I don't understand what's going on. It's because the way that we're seeing things has changed, and we need to focus on moving ourselves forward, looking at things in a light that, yes, is different, but also is still prosperous, when we're not pushing away wealth and saying, no, things are too uncertain, I can't have XYZ, or I can't be this person anymore. Because there's just that feeling coming up. And it could be just for one person. I mean, this is a general reading. So sometimes one person or one energy comes through very, very strongly. So if you're saying, Dane, I'm not doubting myself, it doesn't have to be that you're doubting yourself in a big way. It can just be that you see things differently than the people around you. And so it makes you think, I can't do this, or there's something wrong with me. And Spirit's saying there's nothing wrong with you. There's a door that is opening that is going to take you on a journey that you hadn't expected. And it can be overwhelming at first, but it's actually going to be very revolutionary within you, very centering within you. It moves you to the Knight of Swords. This is you. You are moving forward with success and prosperity. You know what it is that you want. You know where it is that you're headed. The Knight of Swords can be overly cocky at times, can be a little bit, destructive, because there's a sense of, I just need movement to get things done. So when we see that part of our personality coming up, we need to curtail it. We need to kind of rein things in and say, okay, but I see me. And I know that I need movement forward. I know that I need to get things done. I know that I need to activate my mind and my body. And that's just where I need to be. And so during this time, exercise or journaling or, having a sketchbook or something like that, that's going to be highly beneficial for you. Libra, if you go for a walk, take your sketchbook, take your notebook, and just see what happens. Like, sit down someplace and let yourself be inspired. This is going to be a time where movement brings you mental clarity. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. If your movement is limited, even just letting yourself sit down, and it's kind of like astral projecting, right? Letting your mind wander, letting yourself be freed from your body can be a very powerful thing, because it's going to give you new ideas that can turn into businesses, that can turn into good investments, that can turn into, hobbies that feed your creativity in such a way that your productivity goes up way beyond what you had thought it would. And it brings you to the Two of Potions, which are new doors opening. That's a real sense of, I'm walking through and I'm embracing something new and something transformative. And I'm looking at things in such a way that it redefines me. There has been something here that we've been holding back on. And it has affected our career, has affected the way that we're moving forward, and the wealth and the prosperity and the success that we have seen for ourselves. And now that we're kind of mixing things together and we're saying, well, what if, and pushing boundaries and looking at things anew, we're going to see that there are new options to us that we hadn't thought of before. And that transforms things. Now, there is this element here with the transformation that not everything is as smooth or is as, kind of succinct as we would want it to be. And that's part of the death and rebirth. Sometimes the death and rebirth isn't as smooth as we wanted it to be. It isn't as clear cut. But this is going to be a time for us where we're looking at things quite differently. And we're going to see ourselves transforming. And we need to embrace that transformation with our work, with our career, because it calls in the money. It's like, once we are transformed, the money starts to pour in. And maybe the pouring in is like, oh, we find a penny on the sidewalk, and then we find a dime, and then we find, then we find a quarter. So here, there's a sense of things increasing. And as it increases, we start to see it as blessings instead of, oh, well, that was just nothing, it's only a quarter, right? It's like, oh no, that was really lucky. And then we start to see ourselves as lucky. And we start to say, I am rich, and I am prosperous, and I am bountiful. And I know we could be saying that already and still feel like we're behind the 8 ball. But there's something here where we're releasing a lot of negativity, a lot of harmful energies that happen around us. And it's almost a sense of, I'm not caught in that cage anymore. I'm not caught in that trap. And I'm not staying in a negative place where, my goals and my aspirations are being shut away. So let's see what subconscious energy we need to be mindful of. And it's the Queen of Swords. So again, we're represented by the swords in the minor arcana. We could be getting in our own way. We could be sitting there and saying, I have worked so hard and trained so hard just on this. It has to be like this, and putting ourselves into a box. We can also have a biting way with words to ourselves that make us think we can't be successful in the way that we want to, or the dreams and the aspirations that we have aren't really there for us. So just be very mindful of this. There can also be an outside person around us subconsciously has gotten into our heads way more than we would like to have thought that they did. And we've, in those quiet moments, when we might be struggling or we let our mind wander, we have their negativity come forward and say, you can't possibly do this. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Our subconscious tarot energy is the Hermit. It's okay. And this is Virgo energy. So if you're born on the cusp with Virgo, that's coming through very subconsciously. Or if you have Virgo in your chart. But it is okay to pull back and to say, you know what? I need to stabilize me. Remember that even though we're coming out of Mercury retrograde, it ends on October 1st. We are stepping into the shadow period. And the shadow period, especially for an air sign energy, it makes things a lot more contemplative. What I see Mercury retrograde doing to so many, and for me as well, is that it brings up the things that we need to see. The things that they go haywire, or the things that we would rather just push under the rug and not pay attention to. And this is going to be a time where we might be affected by the post-shadow period more than we had thought. And we're looking at things that had gone haywire and saying, well, what does this mean for me? We need to take a time out and we need to connect with ourselves. It's going to be more important than you think, because we're on the verge of unlocking wealth and prosperity and just, joyous abundance. But we have to kind of get out of our own heads first. And that can be really difficult. All right, Libra. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy, as we embrace the power, intensity, and beauty of this time and of ourselves. Let's take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Libra, and may blessings and prosperity always be with you.